Hey guys, so I'm back to make another video this week, and I wanted to kind of introduce you to my favorite new kitchen tool, which is the Instant Pot. And I want to talk a little bit about how it works. When you get your Instant Pot, you're going to get a few things in the pot. They send the pot, they send the electric cord separate because it plugs into the back of the pot. It doesn't come attached to the pot. They will send you a trivet. You'll get the lid, the sealing ring, which you have to attach. If you look at it, there's this little, I'll take it out just to show you. It's made of rubber, and then there's this little wire, in this little metal heavy-duty wire that runs along the inside of the pot, and you just, there's a little groove in the sealing ring, and you just kind of run that groove around that wire and just make sure it's on there all the way around, because that's what makes your Instant Pot seal when you're cooking. And then some other non-essential, or what I consider non-essential tools. There's a little cup that plugs into the back of the Instant Pot that will catch condensation that comes out of the pot while it's cooking. I don't really use that. And then there was a rice stir paddle thing. I don't really use that very much unless I'm making sushi. And then I think there was a measuring cup that came with it too. But the main parts of your Instant Pot are the Instant Pot itself, the electric cord that plugs into the back of the Instant Pot and then into your outlet, the trivet, which you will need. The trivet has two handles so that when you put it in your pot, in your liner pot, it is easy to pull out again. You have a liner pot, and then you have the lid. Tip for the lid, always store it upside down in your cabinet so that any flavors or smells that have gotten onto the sealing ring, because it is rubber or silicone, can air out so you don't have a stinky food. So I'm going to real quick make a easy vegetable broth for you, just to show you how some of the features on the Instant Pot work, and show you how easy it is to make your own veggie broth or your own chicken broth or whatever kind of broth you need. One of the things that I've been doing for the past several days, because I knew I was going to make veggie broth, was every time I cut up vegetables, I would save the onion tops, the peels. I have the bottom of a romaine lettuce, bunch of romaine lettuce. I have the tops to some tomatoes. I've got some chives that I picked that I didn't end up using. I've got green onion stem, the root end that I cut off. So I've got all that. So what I'm going to first do is, in order to give the vegetables a little bit more flavor, I'm going to go ahead and push saute. And that's one of the great things about the Instant Pot, is you can brown food in it. Now you hear it beep. That means that it's on and it's heating up inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and dump in this bag of extra veg. And then I have some carrots. I'm just going to roughly chop those. And I'm going to go ahead and add those in. Now, I've got this celery here that's old and it looks rotten. And normally you'd think, wow, throw that away. But not for today. It's got some really slimy parts, but some of this celery is still usable and can actually help make a better veggie broth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the top that has the brown parts, and I'm going to cut off the bottom that has the brown parts. Now what I have left is some wilted looking, pale, old looking celery, but this is perfectly usable. None of it's rotten. It's all relatively good, but it does still have good celery flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there, and I'm not even going to bother chopping it. And then the last thing that I have, two things actually, is an onion, a quarter of an onion, and I'm going to leave the peel on. I'm going to cut that into pieces about that large, and I'm going to throw that in the pot also. Peel and all. And the last thing I have is some garlic. I don't really like to use powdered garlic. I like to use fresh garlic. And one of the ways that makes storing fresh garlic a lot neater and cleaner is to put it in a Ziploc bag so that all the peels don't end up all over the inside of your refrigerator or your pantry. I've got a couple of, probably 3 small cloves of garlic. I'm just going to kind of smash those just a little bit, not much. I'm not peeling them. I'm going to throw those in there. And that's it. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in a minute. But you can hear it's starting to sizzle. And my Instant Pot says on, which means it's running a feature right now, which is the saute feature. Stir that up and let it saute. And when these veggies get a little bit of color on them, I'll come back and show you what's next. Okay, I'm back. The vegetables have been cooking for maybe 5 minutes, and I just want to show you what the inside of this pot looks like. The vegetables are starting to cook, and you can see that there's a little bit of brown on the bottom of the pan. I didn't put any oil in the bottom of this pan at all. I just want to kind of develop some color on the bottom of the pan and maybe a tiny bit of color on the vegetables, but they don't need to cook for very long. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some sea salt, and I'm making a bit of broth, so I need probably a good tablespoon of broth. And then I've got probably 3 bay leaves I'm going to add. These are old bay leaves, so you might not need to use as many if you have fresh bay leaves. I'm going to stir that around just for a second, and then I'm going to add water to this. Okay, and I want a little bit more water. And then I'm going to add probably a third and another pitcher of water. And I want to show you on your Instant Pot, there are lines on the inside of the pot that have a maximum fill line. So I've got mine probably just short of the maximum. And when I stir this, what I'm going to do is get some of that browning that was on the bottom of the pot. I'm going to try to stir some of that into this liquid, and you can already see that some of that browning on the bottom is coming up into this broth, and that's what's going to make your broth have a little bit of a better flavor and better color than if you weren't to use that saute feature. So I'm just going to stir until I don't feel too much on the bottom of the pot anymore. I'm going to take my spoon out, and now I'm going to show you what you need to push on your Instant Pot to get this started. So it's still set on the saute feature, which is fine because that is going to get that water that was cold warm a little bit more quickly than if you don't use the saute feature and you don't leave it on. So that once that water comes up to the boil, when you put your lid on the Instant Pot, it's going to come up to pressure more quickly. So I'm leaving this on saute for just a minute to kind of warm that water up. That's going to help the Instant Pot come to pressure more quickly. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and put my lid on. I'm going to set my pressure valve over here to the sealing position, and you can kind of see it there. And there's a pin here. When the Instant Pot comes to pressure, when it produces enough steam to pressurize inside the pot, that pin is going to pop up. Until that pin pops up, you can still open and close your Instant Pot. When that pin pops up, that means that your Instant Pot is at pressure and you will not be able to open the lid anymore. And that's one of the great safety features about this Instant Pot. So now what I'm going to do is show you some of the buttons here. We've got soup, meat and stew, bean chili, poultry, steam, porridge, multigrain, and rice. And then down here we've got a slow cook button, the saute button, which I've already showed you, the pressure button, adjust, manual, timer, keep warm, cancel, and yogurt. So since I've got it on the saute feature, I just want to push keep warm, cancel, and it's going to go back to off. There's no features running. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push manual. This is the button that I use most often, is the manual button. If I push manual and I want to adjust the time, obviously I don't want this broth to cook for 3 minutes. It's going to need more. So I'm going to push plus until I have it set for probably 45 minutes. I want a nice, good, rich broth. So I'm going to set it for 45 minutes. But if I wanted to change the pressure, I could push this pressure button. It would go from low pressure to high pressure. I want high pressure, so I'm going to leave it on high pressure. Now if I got this, once I leave this program set there for 5 seconds, sorry, it's going to turn on and it's going to start the program. It's going to start the manual cooking. But let's say I push that and I change my mind and I don't want to do that. I decide I want to use a different feature. I can just push that keep warm, cancel button and it'll go back to off. So that's pretty simple. Any of these other programs that you push, you can, I'll give you an example. Let's push the soup button. And it says that it's going to cook at high pressure for 30 minutes at a normal setting. So let's say I want to change that. I'm going to push adjust and I can set it when it will go to more, and it can go for 240 minutes, or less would be 20 minutes, or a normal amount of time would be 30 minutes for soup. Then I can also push this pressure button and I can change it from low pressure or high pressure. So there's 2 adjustments for most programs that you can do. You can adjust the time to the preset that they've decided would be good for soup, or you can adjust the pressure. And see, I let it sit for 5 seconds and now it's started to run that feature. But I don't want to do soup, so I'm going to push keep warm, cancel again, and I'm going to go back to my manual program. I'm going to set the time for 45 minutes, so I'm going to push the minus button, and I want it to be on high pressure, which it already is. Let it sit for 5 seconds and then it's going to start to run that program. And in 45 minutes I'm going to come back and I'm going to have delicious, rich vegetable broth that my daughter can use for her creamy mushroom soup. And I don't have to watch this pot, I don't have to babysit it. When the 45 minutes is up, I'm going to let it just sit there and this keep warm feature will come on, and I'll show you what that is when my veggie broth is up. Hi. Okay, I'm back. I have to go out, so I've got my hair all fixed. That's why I look different. But I just wanted to show you my Instant Pot broth has been sitting, it cooked for 45 minutes like I said it, and then when it's done cooking, it'll go to the keep warm feature and it will count up the amount of minutes that it's sitting. And that's kind of called a natural pressure release, or if you're on any of the Instant Pot groups on Facebook, you'll see it called NPR. Natural pressure release. So it's been letting pressure escape this whole time for the 12 minutes while that keep warm feature is on, but you can see the pressure pin is still up, which means this lid is not opening. So now that it's pressure released on its own for 13 minutes now, I'm just going to go ahead and move this pressure valve from seal to vent. And because it's releasing a lot of steam and condensation, I just put a towel over it so that it doesn't get all over my liquid, all over my kitchen. And I'm going to go ahead and let that natural pressure release, or let it vent until that pressure pin goes down. Okay, so the pressure is released. It took a couple minutes. Just be patient with it. The pin has gone down and it's stopped steaming as much. So now I'm going to go ahead and open my pot. And everything looks great in here. I kind of want to show you what it looks like. The vegetables are completely soft and cooked. The onions are cooked. Everything. The broth is done. This is how much I got. It has a light vegetable flavor. It's very low on salt. Give your own vegetable broth a try. It's so much cheaper. You already have a lot of the vegetables on hand to make it, and you're going to love it. It's going to be so much cheaper and healthier and better for you, and using the Instant Pot makes it a lot easier. So Have fun making your own broth. Click like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you next time.